Batman Annual Issue 5, James Tynion the fourth writing with James Stokoe on the art. So we get to hear once again that Matt does not like James Stokoe's art, but everyone else does.
And that's fine. You guys can like it. Especially in this issue, I will give him credit that I like his demonic-esque Joker, because to the eyes of a 14-year-old, that's fine. But just some of the other art, I don't like this Batman. It's too stylistic.
I know
that sounds weird to hear for comic book stuff.
I will admit that I don't necessarily love how his Batman looks in this story, but I love how his like city streets look. I love the buildings, and I love the color palette. You know, like I discovered Stokoe through an Alien comic, and it was perfect for those, like, you know, hallways of the spaceships and all the xenomorph shit. Right. I love the way the city feels. So this is a Leslie Tompkins Clown Hunter story where we get this idea that there's some people in the bad parts of Gotham that actually stick up for her, because she does like heal and help a lot of people, a lot of homeless people, a lot of criminals.
Big Henry.
Yeah, Big Henry, who comes in and like threatens this mugger who tries to mug Leslie.
Yep.
You know, it's a fun time. But when she gets back to her clinic, Clown Hunter's there, and this ties into because Batman sent him here from the previous issues, and she's obviously willing to help. And it becomes this conversation about how she obviously has known Bruce since he was a kid and has had a problem with like his violence that he uses as Batman, but has ultimately been trying to help him for all these years. And the idea that she's going to try and help this kid just in the same way, because why wouldn't she?
Right.
So
she's Leslie Tompkins.
I will critique
Batman's mom.
that we did have to see the Wayne's murder briefly again, because I'm sick of seeing it. And
I almost threw my iPad. I was reading this last night, and I got to that, and I was like, I'm done. I never want to see a loose pearl again. Like, I'm at that point where it's been done to death. And you can say the same about Superman. We get it, the dying planet, the lost sun.
Yeah,
I'm tired of kind of seeing that too, but not at the level of Batman.
I feel like we've complained about not seeing the Wayne's murder like 4 times in the last 6 months. Like, it's happening constantly. It's really weird.
Yeah. We get it. They died. It sucks. That trauma influenced Bruce the rest of his life.
Well, no, here's the thing though. In this issue, it's not about Bruce, really. It's about Leslie's perception of it. And I think her walking down Crime Alley and like have the narration say she always thinks about that night when she's walking down Crime Alley. Right. I have no problem with that. But the art chose to show a few panels of it happening, and that is the part I could have done without, because I've seen it to death.
Yeah. But because I did like that caveat of that it used to be the nice part of town.
Yes.
But then when other people started moving in, all the people that wanted all the rich people moved out, and it became Crime Alley.
And to be fair here, I do think it does have to be brought up in the story, because this story ultimately becomes about Clown Hunter's parents' death, which has to be compared to Bruce's from Leslie's eyes. It has to, so she has to mention it in her narration. We've seen it enough. I don't want to see it again. Just stop it. Right?
Yes. Do you think that certain writers and artists want to have that in their quiver, and that's why we get it so much? Not necessarily Tynion, right? Because he could have done this at any point, but maybe Stokoe kind of like.
Yeah, I've never done this, so I want to draw my version of this, because everyone has to get a turn.
I'm happy for him, but at the same time, I'm tired of seeing it. Do it for yourselves, guys. Make a print. We'll be good.
Yeah, do a print. That's all you need to do. Do a print and sell it. But so as she's patching Clown Hunter up, he tells the story of what happened to his parents, and his parents own a restaurant. And basically Harley and Joker came in, and it was Harley's idea to come here, so she picked the restaurant, which is why she's culpable in the death of his parents, because she actually leaves before he kills them. She's not even there for it, but she comes in with the hyenas. They're hungry after a diamond heist or something they've done, because Batman and Joker and Harley, I should say.
And a Joker. I
know.
Going diamond shopping, taking it to the next level.
Well, there's love in his eyes, okay, Matt? There's love in his eyes.
Yeah.
But of course you're kind of waiting for him to like be evil and kill them, because the parents look scared, but they're like, no, we'll just serve them, they'll leave after. But Joker gasses them and leaves, because that's who he is. And Batman is there afterwards, and he promises Pow, or what was his name? Pow.
Yep.
Is it P? Yeah, okay.
Bow. No, Bow.
Bow. B. It's a B. Okay. B-A-O.
Yeah.
Bow.
Like the bun.
Yes. So he promises Bow that he's going to do something about this. He's going to track him down. He's going to do this. and he gives him a batarang as a sort of promise, as a vow, which is why he has a batarang in the future in his bat, the bat, as we find out he calls it. We may have heard that before, but I'd forgotten if we did.
It definitely was.
Yeah. But you know, he waited. He played his video games. He listened. He paid attention to the police reports. But as time went on, the Joker kept doing more things, and he became more disillusioned by the idea that Batman was actually going to ever really accomplish anything. And then the Joker War happened. And again, some of my favorite art of this is that 2-page layout of the streets with all of the flames and the smoke and the clowns and the bikes and all the rest of it. And basically this woman that him and like his other foster kids know gets burned by a Molotov, and this is what drives him over the edge. As you know, to be fair, that's pretty dark. Like I wasn't ready for it to get that dark. Seeing the lady on fire, yeah, super dark. So he has the idea. He goes back in to his room. He throws the batarang, it hits his baseball bat, and he gets the idea. So he makes his quick costume. I love that the mohawk he's got in his helmet is literally just the broom.
It's the broom from the restaurant.
Such a neat little touch. And he goes out and he just basically shanks this this Molotov clown. Which some of the other clowns come after him. He ends up on fire. The clown, that is, not Bao.
Right.
And basically the idea is that he built up a bit of a reputation that they were scared to come to this neighborhood. He'd accomplished something, people cheered him on, so it made him feel like he was doing the right thing. But Leslie points out that just because people like it and cheer you on doesn't necessarily mean you're doing the right thing. That can be reaffirming in a dangerous way when it shouldn't be. And it says, look, I have an anger management class every Wednesday. You're welcome to come, and even if you don't come to that, I do look forward to seeing you again, so we can talk more. And Clown Hunter's kind of dealing with the idea that he kind of like feels conflicted about not killing Harley when he had the chance. Like the idea that he's been spoken out of it is like, well, am I just as bad as Batman now of not accomplishing and not getting things done because I wavered and didn't do it? So basically, yeah, it really feels like a kid who's 15. He sees the world in this black and white way, and he's starting to get to that age and learn the lessons of there are shades of grey and things aren't that simple, and you have to actually consider the nuance of the situation in a way. And if no one can improve and get better, then because he's ignoring that side of everything completely. It's one thing to argue the Joker should be killed. It's another thing to argue everyone who's ever put on a clown mask and done something in his name should also be killed.
Yeah, but when they burn a foster lady,
I mean, that particular person's clearly in the extreme side of things.
Maybe string them up.
So yeah, it's got a nice sentiment. It's a very Leslie Tompkins focused issue. And I also like getting the full origin for Clown Hunter. So it's a good thing for an annual like this, I think, to like tie into the main story, add a lot of depth to one of the characters, but it does feel separate enough that it feels suited to being an annual rather than just being an issue of the book.
Yeah. So definitely, it's different enough, and Batman is there, right?
Yeah,
and we get to see how he impacted Clown Hunter, and then kind of like how often does this happen with Batman? How many of these kids are out there too? Because it asks that question, that don't go on to do what Clown Hunter did, Yeah. So
it's just a really good use of an annual. If you're going to have an annual, this is the perfect sort of thing to throw into it, and because it's about the death of this kid's parents, it's like, well, is he any less valid in his anger than Bruce ever has been? No, it's just like his parents died just like Bruce's did. So, it is bringing those ideas in here. And unlike Matt, I do like the art quite a bit. So
yes,
yeah. So
I mean, everyone has different tastes. It's not there for me.
Yeah, it's stylized. Obviously, the faces aren't necessarily the sort of faces that I expect from other artists to do, wonderful expressions and stuff like that. But it feels, Stocco feels, it's still very expressive though, I think, even though it's a bit more stylized than others. But like I say, it's just the worlds around the characters, it's the surroundings, it's the streets, it's the texture to the colors. Like even like Clown Hunter's like costume, the scratchiness of it just has a great texture to it that I think looks very pleasing. But yeah, it basically just ends with him. He reveals his name, takes off his helmet because Leslie asked to see who he really is, and she says it's nice to meet him, and that's the end of the story. And it's the idea, there's hope for this kid yet. He's not just a complete lost cause. which is kind of proving Batman's point in a lot of ways. Everything he's been saying to, Ghostmaker or whatever his stupid name is.
Yeah, Ghostmaker. And it also speaks to a bigger issue that I've had with Tynan's run of these characters he's introducing, and it's cool that he's trying to introduce new characters.
Mm-hmm. I
just feel that a lot of them, they're very, very similar. Out of the three so far that come to mind, we had the designer and Ghostmaker come from his past. And then you have Clown Hunter and Ghostmaker that are both kind of the Jason Todd argument of things, of how brutal does Batman be, what and how his philosophy only creates more problems. And it's just, I don't know. It's just a lot right now. But I don't know what else Tynan would do, So it's just, yeah.
I think challenging Batman's war is an interesting take, and far more interesting than maybe a lot of other, takes you can have.
It's not necessarily the war. It's the I just Ghostmaker and Clown Hunter back to back. Like maybe if it was spread out a little bit.
I like Clown Hunter. Well, it's just Ghostmaker I don't like. Yeah. So I don't. Like, I think there's good potential to come from the character given the new status quo that we've ended, but all the backstory and retcon him into Bruce's past, that's what I've not.
Yeah.
I don't like.
What's the other book that we saw Stokoe on? Because I just tried to pull it up and I can't find it.
It was one of the Clown Hunter stories in one of the Bat issues. Yeah.
Gotcha.
There was a Clown Hunter story in I think it was probably the Warzone one shot.
Gotcha.
That had a few stories in it. I imagine that's where it was. But yeah. So no, I liked the issue. I thought it was solid. What would you rate it? How do you feel overall with it?
The story itself versus the art. I'd feel bad giving it less than a 7 because the story is good. I just, the art at times I was just like, oh man. Then I haven't seen the Waynes again.
Yeah. I'll probably get a 7.5. I probably would get the 8, but I'm docking half a point for seeing the Wayne's death again. I'm just straight up docking half a point for that.
That's hilarious.
So there you go. That's Batman Annual number 5.